Why do you go up like that?
Hello, good evening,
Good
everyone,
evening.
and welcome to
The
the
truth
truth behind
behind
the
Behind the truth.
the
truth.
truth.
So,
Sing it again.
I have to bring us up in this. Y'all keep talking. I'm technical. Sorry, guys. It's coming. We're wearing too many hats. All right.
I know, right? We all over the place and what we got going on. How you doing, Charles?
I'm good. How about you all?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
We're good. I thought we were muted at one point. oh, we're still lagging again, aren't we?
Yeah,
Lagging?
that's what we're having. Yeah.
Doesn't look like we lagging.
Oh,
Okay. Or delay.
Yeah, we're delaying. I can. All right, then. Well, we're gonna make it the best we can make it.
Keep it moving. We're gonna keep it moving.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, and I'll open this thing up. Y'all know what the topic at hand is: misinformation from fact. Am I correct with that?
Factor missing. Factor.
Misinformation or facts.
Information from fact. But before you dive in, I got something we need to do first. Don't you dive in too soon. Or fact.
All right.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right. So I need to do one thing before we go into the misinformation of facts. All right. There's one thing I got to do right here.
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh. Take his time.
Is it coming?
Yes, there.
There it is.
Happy birthday, Charles.
Happy birthday to Charles. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to Charles. Happy birthday. Happy
No, Lord.
I don't know the whole.
We got a third verse.
birthday. Happy birthday.
That's my difficult sign.
Yeah. So you got a personal happy birthday. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
From the team at the truth behind the truth. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy birthday. Like I told you, 35. You don't look a day over 32.
Our apologies if we're lagging, Charles. I know we're sounding a little bit all over the place, aren't we?
All right. You can take it from there.
Hi, Gabriel. Hey, Tyler. How you doing?
Go ahead. You were starting with your comment.
Well, I was just talking about the topic, back from misinformation. You know what? Can you hear us? Hey,
Yes.
Jessica, how you doing? I want to say, you know what? With everything that's going on, I am not surprised that people do not have their facts in line.
Yes.
With all the information, and we talk about this all the time on the show, the information age, I swear, and I'm going to tie this into the situation with the program that Bush started with the Child Left Behind program. With everything that's going on right now, I'm not surprised. And he always complains about going back and arguing with people on Facebook and on Instagram. You have to remind yourself, we're not too far off from that program.
Right.
Oh. We're not. The Child Left Behind program. Yeah. I'm talking about special kids with special needs. Right. Special people who cannot seem to comprehend information.
Well, that'd be easy because we got a president that was a child left behind.
Oh, yes. And I'm not joking on people with dyslexia or anything of that nature, but you got to remind yourself, there are people who cannot comprehend information.
That's true.
They just can't. Right. And the saddest thing about this situation with, now that's going on with Nick Cannon and stuff. Hold on, we're lagging still. Hold on. Okay, are we good? Are we good?
You are now.
Charles, are we good?
Yep, you are now.
Okay, great. With all this going on, I am not surprised because of the fact that a lot of misinformation is going off of the throats of people that deem to know it all, have all this money, have all this status, and you got po folks who are believing it. And the saddest thing is that we have these phones, and we cannot go on Google and do a free lookup. Or search. Why is that? Why can't we do free search? What's going on?
You can get on and get a free hookup.
free
hookup. You get on there, free hookup. They want you to hook up, but but the right stuff you can't do. And that's something.
Are we dealing with people who were left behind in the educational sense and their scholastic careers? I mean, because I'm getting a feel that that's what's going on. Charles, what do you think?
Well, the question here is that
What you say, Charles?
Oh, no, I heard him say the question was. I thought he was going to say something. No, there's
the question is. I mean, no, I was saying about it in terms of the illicit administration. I mean, we got a clown that's in the warehouse that's not educated, and it goes right along with what you're saying. The man is not educated. He go by seat of the wristbands. He has people that are around him that are making decisions, and he's just going for them. He's just validating what they're doing.
Well, he did say this today. He is not building a library, a presidential library, or he's not building anything of any type of informational place. He said he doesn't believe in that.
Well, no, but he's building a skyscraper
with hotels.
Right.
With hotels.
Right.
That tells us that.
Go ahead.
Can you hear us, Charles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's having those difficulties, but it's coming
good.
through.
Okay, that tells me all I need to know about this man. Is that he said out of his mouth verbatim, that he does not believe in building libraries.
Right. Yeah. Should we be surprised? I mean, at the end of the day, it's just, I just don't understand how we have come around in this man, as a whole. We spiral.
I don't know.
Okay. It seemed like it lately every conversation. Right here about this thing. Okay. We have come to be to a place where and I hate to sound like I'm being misled in my thoughts here. I just don't understand some days. I'll put it that way. I just don't understand days as to what. I really don't. I practically I don't know where people's minds are. It's like the information is right at your fingertips and you don't pay attention to it. You ignore it, and we're referring to typically probably the magnet people. At the end of the day, because they don't see the forest from the trees. Okay, I've got family members that are magnet people. I've talked to magnet. I'm calling it magnet people because it seems like to be they sucked in and they can't get away from the magnet that's drawing them. So whatever. But the economic status is just spiraling downhill. I mean, he said today, made it alleged. We will once in 2 to 3 weeks you'll see gas prices going out because he's gonna settle the thing out with Iran in the war. Anyway, how can you ever believe what this man has to say? Because every other word,
get used to it. Get used to it because of the fact that we went on this detour of a war that he started, along with is no real.
Okay, no real.
Yes. We're going. He said we as Americans get used to being protected.
Right.
That's why the gas prices are up because now we are protected from terrorists. So just get used to it. Okay. If your gas prices are going up, you should just get used to it.
Okay.
It's not.
That's right now, right? Okay.
All right. That's what the president said. I mean, his words count.
Right.
His words.
So, that's. So real quick before we go on, I want to say good evening. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Appreciate you taking a few minutes out to be with us tonight. Share, and like the show so that more people can follow you and get what you know or what you're learning from us tonight.
Sorry for lagging.
Yeah,
Wi-Fi.
I'm not sure what our Wi-Fi issues are. It seems like every time we have a conversation about this administration, it seems like it finds its way.
I call that another word of censorship that people like Boosie and them keep saying, they be going through a censorship when they talk about certain sector of people.
Okay.
Now we.
Wow. Anyway, we're gonna move on real quick, and we'll dig back into that a little bit further. So, we get this is of course the last show for last day of the month for Women's Appreciation Month, and Women's History Month. Excuse me, you know that, and we want to take the moment out to is it gonna come? Okay, we should be there. We go. Okay. Women's History Month. So just was it yesterday of the industry, you know, and just music in general. Okay, you know, I know that her circle was that, but she was you know, very popular music in general, and her accomplishments by starting out as a musical artist. And you know, most of you hopefully saw her and Whitney Houston together in the version of Cinderella that was on ABC. Oh gosh, it's been like almost 20 years ago, 25 years ago, right?
97.
97. Oh, yeah, like almost 28 years ago. Wow, time really flies, you know. But I thought it was a beautiful production. I liked that it was a diverse cast.
Sunday evening, you know, special for ABC.
Oh my God! Is somebody getting this up? Well, yeah.
On behalf of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, it is my pleasure to welcome the 2,839th star to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Brandy. Step on it. You're gonna kneel first. Not yet.
It's like church. Like that?
However you want to do it.
Okay, all right. We'll do it right here.
All right.
Let's go, Brandon. Wow.
Brandy to the left.
There you go.
All right, there we go. All right, everything's in a delay right now. But anyway, so back to Brandy, and I'll let you let you say your points about it. So I was excited to see her get her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I think it is one of the persons that is very well deserving. And then the video came before I got to mention her accolades. We started off with Cinderella, you know, and then she had Moesha, and then she was on The Game, and then what else she did? A lot of television, okay, just with a lot of television. So just excited to see her reach that milestone, you know, as well.
She's got a book coming out too.
Yeah, go ahead. You can talk about it.
Before I say anything, Charles, what you got to say about it?
Not much. I'm glad she's got to walk. She's a very talented lady with a very nice voice. I think that it's well deserved. I think that in this day and age, you know, to be acknowledged by your peers or to even be acknowledged at all is a blessing. So, you know, you accept what you get and try to strive for better.
You know what? Honestly, a lot of people don't give Brandy too well nowadays. Our generation and the generation afterwards are giving her just due. You know, Brandy, in her own little way, had brought her style of singing to a new generation of people. Yeah, and to be honest with you, let me tell you this to be real. When she first came out, I was really young. But I remember when her first album came out and how big it was, especially on the MTV market. She was really huge in the mid-90s. And then you had Moesha, and then, you know, Cinderella, and then she was just big. He had L'Oreal and CoverGirl, and you had the Barbie dolls. She had all of this stuff going, and
she really paved the way.
She really did pave because she really was that first mega star. I mean, you had Whitney Houston, But you have to give, even during that time period, she had a lot of competition.
Yeah.
She had Whitney, she had Toni Braxton, she had Maya, she had Aaliyah, she had Monica, you had Deborah Cox, you had all of these vocalists, Mary J. Blige, Erykah Badu. It was just so much competition, but she was always the reigning I would say mainstream Black artists that you did see in the 90s that were all the teen beats and all that stuff in the front covers. And then you had Moesha, and that built up even her status. Right. Then, her date with Kobe Bryant, that built up his status a little bit into the NBA. She was mega star. But, along with that, things did happen along the way. But her legacy is ever so, I
think it's pretty strong.
It's really, really is strong. And that voice, that voice had gotten better over time too, because not to say that she wasn't a great vocalist, she was a great vocalist at the age of 15. Because that's when she came out with I Want to Be Down. She was wonderful. But as she matured, it just seemed like she had gotten a whole lot better. Because I wasn't really that big of a fan of her vocally live, but as she got up in age, you could tell the more she matured, the more her voice has gotten so much richer and so much better. So I have to say, Brandy, you know what? Congrats. I'm happy that you have finally gotten your star. And to be honest with you, keep going. Yeah. Keep going, to be honest, because she has really left a lasting legacy for newer artists to kind of step in, especially with Chris Brown. I'm not the biggest Chris Brown fan, but I had noticed that his the way he uses his voice, both live and in the studio, almost compares to what Brandy did before him. And I always consider him somewhat of a male Brandy, like what was his name? The guy from in the 90s who, it's just the fact that she has really allowed that door to be open for artists to come back and listen to her music and then be influenced enough to do something with theirs, with what she had did in the 90s. So yeah, Brandy has influence. She has influenced a whole different genre and artist. And Britney Spears was influenced by her. That really me. I'm not gonna lie. Even Britney said she was influenced by Brandy. So I have to, that's something to think about.
Well, you never know who's watching you.
You never know
in that category. And then, one thing I'll say, and we'll move on. I like the fact that her presence was generally free from scandal during that particular time, and it was so easy to fall into something, and she really didn't.
Yeah.
So it was a really good, I think a really good time. And but management and family and those different ones. Well, her mother, we're going to talk about that brother of hers, but that's a whole other story. But he got paid to sex, but that's a whole other.
She has a documentary coming out. She has a documentary coming out, and she talks about some things, there were stories about Brandy. Brandy's got a checkered past also, and it just doesn't matter if you keep your ear to the streets of the industry. She used to date Shine.
People say she does.
What happened?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she used to date Shine.
But I think
repeat what you said, Charles.
Yeah,
she used to date Shine, who was on Bad Boy.
Yeah, she did. Went to jail. Yeah.
She also dated Mace. She dated Lil Wanye from Boys and Men. Kobe Bryant. She's got a reputation too. She's been around a little bit,
which is okay. Ain't nothing wrong with a little reputation, to be honest with you. Everybody can't be a virgin all their life.
Well, but we're assuming that she went all the way with these people.
I'm not trying to implement that now, but we all are human beings. But the way Shine did come out and say that, I thought that was, let me tell you something. Shine is a rapper, but this you know what? It's all right to spill the beans, but come on now. I mean, It's just the way, and then in the midst of all of that going on, she denied not the relationship, but I think she might have denied the relationship. But she denied that, was it our business to know?
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people kiss and tell, but we don't need to. We don't need to kiss and tell.
Well, I mean, really, we're not celebrating people who she was dated. Okay, that's not the point. That's not why it's Women's History Month.
I know.
To roll out her
But
picture.
scandal do sell.
But that's not what we're talking about.
But it wasn't our business. It was a situation with yeah. But I'm just saying, the truth behind the truth. Everybody is this thing called life. You walk this journey, and you're gonna stray off the path, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see nothing. And to be honest with you, even though she, I think, denied the situation with Shine in some form or fashion,
that's another conversation.
But still, though, it's something to talk about because see, truth behind the truth. What Charles brought up is yes, that's a little bit of information that checkered. A little, not her legacy, but it brings a human experience to what has happened and what we all have to deal with. So it is what it is, but it just was so funny that the fact that how it came out was so funny.
With
Mace. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jay, because this is a great topic.
No, we're not exploring her personal life. That is not a great topic. This is the conclusion of Women's History Month. We do not want to know her dating history. That's not the purpose of that. She didn't get a star for her dating history.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. We're talking about her accomplishment. That's another conversation for another time. If you want to explore celebrities. Dating situations. That's not where we are today. All right. But anyway, we're gonna move on. So we're gonna take a little shift real quick. And that wasn't the direction I wanted to go. Now we need to getting into a little bit of history on terms of why and how we do as people. And I don't want to colorize this, but why we do it as people, and we miss so much. Okay. And we've been missing so much, and hopefully this just gives you a little more information about life and what we're talking about right now.
Who is this? Adolf.
What do you got?
Who's this? Adolf Hitler. Good. Pop quiz. Who's this? You don't know, do you? The average American can tell you. Who's this? Adolf Hitler. Good. Pop quiz. Who's this? You don't know, do you? The average American can tell you who Adolf Hitler is, but they can't tell you who King Leopold II of Belgium is. And I think that is an indictment on the American educational system. We're always taught about the Holocaust, how Adolf Hitler oversaw the extermination of over 10 million people, as we should. We should be taught about that. But why aren't we taught about a genocide that this man oversaw 30 years before the Holocaust? In 1884, European powers split Africa. They partitioned it. They basically said, hey, I want this country because it has that resource. King Leopold wanted the Congo, and he created the Congo Free State and oversaw the Congo Free State from 1885 to 1908. This was during the period of a rubber boom worldwide. People needed rubber for cars. People needed rubber for bikes. And guess where you can find a lot of rubber? The Congo. So King Leopold utilized secret police to basically enslave the people of the Congo to extracting rubber. And if they missed a quota, they would get their hands cut off. He said, for every bullet you use, I need a hand in return. In those 20 or so years, historians estimate that he killed over 15 million Congolese people. Not only did he kill this many people, they also estimate that the population of the Congo shrunk from 20 million to 10 million people. The reason I think it's so problematic that we have this massive gap in our education system is that it seems that when it's Black people or people of color that are being genocided, it doesn't matter. You would think that King Leopold lived in the 1500s. But no, him and Hitler were alive at the same time. His rule over the Congo ended in 1908 and he died in 1909. The Holocaust starts like 30 years later. What King Leopold did in the Congo be traced directly to the Democratic Republic of Congo's instability to this day. It set the course and set the precedent for the exploitation of Africa's resources that we're still seeing to this day. I think this is going to be a part of a new series called Open the Schools Again, because we need to all go back to school. There are gaps that need to be filled.
Mm.
That's right.
Go ahead.
That's right. There's a lot of gaps in our education when it boils down to history, even here. I mean, you have to think about this too as well. You know, you just had an idiot named Nick Cannon tell another idiot, Amber Rose, about the fact that the KKK was part of the Democratic Party, but did not talk about the Southern strategy. Why is everybody so hell bent about this thing called? And I know we're off topic to what the man was saying in the video about the Emperor of Belgium, but going back to what making that connection, there's so much misinformation still, because at the end of the day, recently that was even put out there. But then you have the fact that there are certain things that are always left off the table to uplift some other, I would say, atrocity. And I think with you, with the situation that we're having right now, and I don't want to get so deep into it about, because I don't want this show to be labeled a certain anti. You know what I'm trying to get at. But there is a push for a certain type of information within our education system. But that happening in the Congo should have been put into our on the table when it boils down to us learning European history and colonialism. But then you have, like I say, you have people who just likes to just put out dumb stuff, and that trumps over everything that is, what it is. But yeah, I just feel like at the end of the day, that there's a reason for everything, and politically, that is the reason why that has been left off the table. What the genocide in the Congo, there is a situation where politics do play a part in our education system, right, and what we learn in the classrooms, because nowadays you're hearing about them taking slavery out of the classroom. Right. You're learning that they're trying to take anything that's too progressive out of libraries. Right. So you have to think about that too, the reason why we learn only about the Holocaust and not about the Holocaust in the Congo. Right. Congo, because there is politically motivated people who put money behind this type of situation, right, to push this on to us, not to know only of their atrocities, but not other people's atrocities. Right. And I'm going to get off of that.
Well, I know you touched on the Nick Cannon thing, but let me just say this about that, because I used to be an admirer of Nick Cannon. I've disconnected from everything he does, because I think him and Chile of TLC have really shown how lost people can be and how disconnected they can be from their own people. So Chile and I hate to say it this way, but Chile is just another one of those people that hasn't gotten her thing together. When you look back at what's going on, history is not taught properly. Everybody seems to think that the Republicans were against slavery because they were mostly black in the beginning. In 1792 is when the Republican Party was created. Back then, after Reconstruction, maybe I think it was 8 years after Reconstruction, blacks needed a political party to follow through. And it wasn't so much that the Republicans opposed slavery. It was the Northern Republicans that opposed slavery. The Southern Republicans wanted the same thing as the Democratic Party, which was the Southern Democratic Party. It was a North and South type of thing. And then within that party itself, you got to remember the Lily White Act, in which the Southern Democrats and the Southern Republicans got together and made the Lily White Act. Well, they didn't want any empowered people to be out of color. No one of color could be in an authoritative position. So when you talk about history, you have to know the full facts of it. The Democratic Party did not create that. Well, they were at the forefront of it in the South, but not so much up north. And that's where people get it mixed. And Lincoln did not free the slaves. The Emancipation Proclamation was telling them that they could have some freedom for fighting with them against the South. And those in the South, even though he had no power, he made them think they were free, but they were not free. The Emancipation Proclamation didn't free people. And Lincoln's exact words were, if I could do anything other than free the slaves to keep the Union, I would. But that's the only thing he could do, was to keep the country from sinking, was to free the slaves. But he didn't want to, believe me. It wasn't because his heart changed. He was such a great guy. No, he had no choice. He was locked into having to do something. And that was his choice.
Yes.
Well,
Absolutely.
Still this. I
well,
mean, what can you expect? I mean,
well, you have to look at the time and the era what was existing at that particular point in time, because if he would have said anything different, it would have created a complete uproar. And how would you even say that the president of the United States would be one that take a stand in that manner? You know, so he was being very political, and he used political terminology, to kind of go past what the truth behind the truth was in that particular moment. Which is very sad. But everyone else caught that as like he became the heroic president for a movement that he necessarily didn't want to be a part of.
Well,
And
as
he
Trump says,
strategically.
if you repeat something long enough, it becomes true. So even if it's not a
Well,
fact,
exactly,
it just becomes
exactly.
true.
And we see that now. That's why our other fellow people of color became robbers and killers, and rapists and everything else, and they've been perpetuated for 12 years. So that's why everybody on the street afraid of our Latino brothers for the most part. But if we ain't careful, it's gonna come to be full circle, and we gonna be looking that way again. So change the mind, change the narrative. Good.
Yep.
Quick
well,
point.
I want to just give thanks to JFK, who got Martin Luther King out of jail, which, and I think, Charles, you might have mentioned this because
And that's
because of
going
the
to
lagging,
swing
but you
things.
got to give thanks to that situation because of the fact that happened. That's the reason why we all switched over to the Democratic Party. And then, and then you think about the Southern strategy. And
Yeah.
I just don't understand why people don't read. I don't get them. Nixon and his Southern strategy is the reason why you have MAGA to this day.
Yes.
And that's
Well,
what I
give
don't
Tea Party
understand why
first.
people don't get this.
Tea Party first, then it became MAGA.
Right.
Yeah. And Dixiecrats too.
But
Mhm.
the gentleman, yeah, the gentleman just said that in a minute. He spoke of the simplistic points about history and how people didn't even know about King Leopold, and the things that happened even in that aspect. You and I had a conversation today about tribalism, and then the extent of tribalism, and wow, we're so infected with tribalism that we don't even realize how deeply we are infected with tribalism. And tribalism is not just limited to people of color, okay? Tribalism is straight across the board. There's white tribalism, red tribalism, yellow tribalism, and unfortunately, it is a method of has bought into and don't even understand the reason why tribalism is there. We know that it's power and control, but when you're being controlled by a certain party or power, you don't know. Just like MAGAs don't know. But anyway, we're going to move on a little bit. So here's another level of control, which is going to be a little deep kind of in the conversation. We're going to do a little shift right now because this is, I call it Resurrection Week. Some people call it Easter week. Somebody call it other kinds of weeks. It is the religious week. This is going into the point of Resurrection Sunday. Some people call it Easter Sunday. I chose not to call it Easter Sunday because of the paganism that comes with the association with Easter. But it's funny to me how Christianity can call out everything else as being, as paganism. But when it comes down to saying this particular celebration coming forth, they still call it Easter. I'm like, do y'all know where Easter comes from? Do you know what the representation of the bunny and the bunny and the eggs and everything else, and all of that, and why? My thing is that we've got to come to a place of one synergy, and moving in a place of understanding each other spiritually. Stop trying to be that power. Stop trying to be that tribalism, that we have, that religion has done under the Christian faith 45,000 times. All right. But anyway, this is our buddy Javon got two opportunities. This is gonna challenge some of y'all. I tell
So
you.
today, as I was coming out of a store, a lady stopped and asked me if she could pray for me. You know the people that stand outside and walk in waiting for you to come in and wait for the perfect opportunity in order to tell you that Jesus is the one anyway. She goes and she asked me if she could pray for me, and I let her know, no, but I will accept an affirmation. She was puzzled at first. I'm sure that threw her off, but she asked, what does that mean? I am going to tell you what I intend to achieve this week. You're going to repeat it back to me and let me know that it's already done. She ended up affirming me. And even though I could hear the hesitation in her voice, she did it exactly as I asked. And she let me know that this is what was going to be fulfilled. Now, it was uncomfortable for her because they are used to going up to people and placing words over their lives. She then uttered to me before I walked away, I'm still going to pray for you. And I said, I've had my conversation. Now you can go and have yours. But let me give you perspective. I've always wondered if someone truly believes in prayer, why ask at all? Why not just do it privately, without announcing it, without involving another person, instead of turning it into a moment of acknowledgement? You could do it the same way you perform a thought when you think about someone without informing them first. And don't come over here with where 2 or 3 are gathered. It doesn't matter. If you are split within yourself, it's futility how many others stand next to you because there's still conflict at the core. What is firmly established within cannot be altered by what is spoken without. So if someone is going to speak over your life, understand this. What is established within you takes precedence over anything spoken outside of you. So we don't need prayer. We need affirmation. We already decided. We don't believe. We know. Perspective.
Strong, very strong. I know that went over a lot of people's heads in terms of what he was absolutely saying. Mm-hmm. But we've said this on the show quite a bit, and where does the idea of prayer lie within you? Is basically what he is saying in the individualism. We do, unfortunately, and have been taught that in our circles, that it is an extension outside of you. Mm-hmm. But the results of what you think that you're praying about in here is always what the change happens within you that dictates what comes through you on the outer side. So why are we going through and what he's basically saying is why are you going through all of the what is that? Not character, the pomp and circumstance, okay, of the idea of this, then going within, making the affirmation within, making peace within, of what you need within yourself to overcome whatever that is. That it could be financial, it could be healing in your body, it could be all of the things that we gather in these moments, to make something happen. When it really doesn't happen until you make the decision within yourself to accept it. We've all said that, okay, let's pray that away, pray this way. You got people talking about pray the gay away. Really? You ain't gonna pray no gay away. Okay, that's just like praying straight away.
You can't pray eating away.
You can't pray eating away either. Okay,
smoking,
and all the things like that. And you can't. Certain things become disciplines for your life. Certain things, it's a discipline. If you're a person that's same gender, loving gender, that's a discipline for your life. Okay, contrary to the belief that most of y'all don't want to believe, that's a discipline for your life. Just like if you are straight, it's a discipline for your life. That's the way you see it. My straight brother right here, sharing the other part of the screen. Charles woke up one morning. He didn't say, well, I guess I'm just going to be straight. It's something about being straight, but attracted him. So he moved into that realm. Just like here, we just didn't wake up, well, you know what? I feel like I need to be straight, so I'm just going to deviate from trying to be gay. How you do that? Where you do that at? Well, but hold on. I'm just trying to help people make sense of that. At the end of the day, I mean, you on the radio today, I think was there, somebody heard today about, they were talking about legislation that one of the states was trying to get the Supreme Court to approve the fact that they wanted to put teens in conversion. And the Supreme Court said, "What the hell is wrong with y'all?" Okay.
Then Trump signed.
No, they didn't work. Okay, it didn't go through. Okay, that you were not a nation initially born with. Okay, and then this is a decision factor. It is a decision factor. The decision is that I know what I'm attracted to. I know what I feel when I'm with this person. I like gladiators. I like Barbie dolls. Okay, whatever the case may be. I like Barbie in a gladiator dress. Whatever it is. I'm being funny, guys. You know, whatever that is, whatever that is, I'll say it one more time. That whatever that motivates that individual, okay, that's what motivates that individual. Please, just let's come out of people's lives and let them live authentically at the end of the day. All right. And their prayer is how they pursue their own authenticity.
Yeah, my point is that's what's going to destroy this country. That's what's going to really destroy this country. Will not stay. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
can I be heard? People cannot stay out of other people's homes and out of people's businesses. If you're not, if the person's not killing or stealing, then why are you so worried about what they're doing in their private time?
Right.
And if you cannot deal with the fact that this is who people love or want to deal with, why don't you just keep it pushing and worry about your own bedroom and sweep around your own front door? You ain't.
It's more door right door.
I mean, at the end of the day, that is why we're going to fall into a disarray, because you have people who are so busy trying to police not only their lives but your life. When that shouldn't be the situation. That's why our healthcare is going down. Right. That's why
gone down. It's gone.
Well, it's gone. The fact that the economy is going to go ragging down the hill because some people don't want to see it for what it really is. Right. But it's okay. Right. So when gas spike up, groceries go. Well, it's gonna keep going. Yeah. When groceries go up and there ain't enough, and especially if there's not enough gas to get fertilizer, you're gonna really see people start really breaking down about the fact that why is this important?
No, it's the gay people. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I just think that it's really an awkward situation where we can't. Yeah, I'm talking. Am I delayed?
No,
you're good. You're good.
Okay. You're good. Yeah. It's really a situation where I say every week, until we can be collective on what we want to do and where we want to be, it's going to be a long journey. It takes numbers to make an impact. The No Kings rally did 8 million people. They were hoping to do maybe 15 to 20, but still 8 million people across 3,000 events. That's quite a bit of people. So, folks are really getting tired of the authoritarian thing that's going on where you do what I say, do how I say, do, and I'm just going to play golf and make money while you all suffer and the gas goes up. And then he can't help but lie to us every time we talk.
And I was so glad, Richard. And thank you for bringing it up, because that was great to see that celebration. And there are going to be more between now and November.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's going to be a lot more than now and November.
Yeah, I think May 1st is a blackout.
So, okay.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be a natural one, too. Natural one. I say it's going to be a natural blackout.
That unification is coming out, and it really is. And with the No Kings, celebration, that's just beautiful. It really is. It really, really is. All right, we're gonna dive back in with Brother Devon one more time, and then we're gonna bring it out. What's motivation, and we will be done with the night. But anyway, here's another point.
My teacher, Miss Thomas, used to always say, Javon, the kids who tell me they studied, I know they're already arguing with their results. So I found it interesting that you needed to announce that you studied the Bible. But then you went and used the book to try and prove the book, only to further prove my point. You all interpret the event through the text and call it proof, instead of asking whether the text was rearranged in order to match the event. If prophecy were that clear, there would not be two belief systems. Judaism would have ended 2,000 years ago, and Christianity wouldn't have had anything to branch off of or reinterpret. And here you go, trying to make a man's death that was supposed to symbolize awakening into theological proof? Quoting Psalms 22 like it proves prophecy is convenient when the text itself comes from layered authorship, inherited interpretation with no direct observation, which shows how easily a narrative can be altered to fit an outcome after it has already happened. That is not foresight. That is interpretation in reverse, which only seems to resonate with people who use the text to validate itself and say things like, I've studied the Bible. But let me give you perspective. David writes Psalms 22 from his own suffering, his own moment, his own reality. That text already existed. It was already circulating. It was already known. Then decades later, you have writers documenting the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, fully aware of that same language, fully aware of its significance, and fully capable of aligning the narrative to reflect it. I've got a prophecy for you. If Jesus was to come back in today's world the way you all say he will, the first thing he's going to receive is not a welcoming. He will be detained by ICE. Next, he will be dismembered by his own movement, who will scream his name, but they won't stand with him. Lastly, he's going to look for the nearest cross, because the same system that rejected him hasn't changed. It's just evolved. But this time, all in the name of Jesus.
I wonder what makes people think he hasn't been here. He hasn't been back since. He probably has been walking this earth, and he probably has been arrested multiple times. To be honest with you, you got people who are so indoctrinated within this thing called evangelicalism, and and some other craps. These people are the most diabolical, mean. They feel with so much hate regarding that they practice love, whatever that love is. It's based on power and colonialism, to be honest with you. But it puts Christianity in a bad light. The generations that who are younger and getting younger, they're realizing the control that religion has over society. And if you look more at the news these days, you are seeing the money, the endorsement that has been put behind this MAGA party through evangelical propaganda. How it's now at times giving people license to just, say, well, you know what, I'm not really a Christian. I just have spiritual beliefs. Because to be a Christian now is to have that scarlet letter on your back. It is true. It's true.
That's good.
It's like being black and being MAGA. I'm about putting that scarlet letter on some of these black MAGAs. Because how can you support a party that would take black names off of soldiers' cemetery tombstones, and that will tell people who will get rid of black federal workers at this point in time in their lives? And then you got okay, we're back, but you got to realize this is the time now to start taking notes and notice of people who supports the downfall of what it is of a democracy at this point. Go back to what I was just saying. I'm going to say it again. If you support a party that would take service members' names, black service members, black soldiers who fought in world wars and conflicts, offer the gravestones, tombstones out of government cemeteries, and then on top of that, you're taking off federal names, you're taking off names of black leaders. If you are a black person who supports that agenda, I don't know how to look at you. But to also, Jay want me to circle back. But to be honest with you, it's just the fact that nowadays, to be a Christian, you're gonna have to really, really have the cojones to really explain to people the difference between indoctrination and spiritually led.
Right. There you go. Love that. But I like how you said the scarlet ladder on your back. That was very powerful. Yeah. Very powerful. My last point, we're going to move on. But this, and here's the thing, and I know that we have got Starch Christian followers that watch the show from time to time, but whatever the case may be, and gets in a debateful point about the information that we bring, and which is the truth behind the truth. This is not to dog, or a situation like, of one's belief system. Okay, if this is the way you see yourself, it's fine. We just want you to understand the truth on how you got to where you believe what you think that you believe. And I say that very passionately, what you think that you believe, because we followed it, just like he brought out about David. How many church settings, Christian settings that we quote Psalms. But we don't even understand the history behind the Psalms in itself. These were David's letters of his true passion of himself and what he was struggling, what he was going through, like he brought out. But we take that as an absolute for the Christian faith to be moved upon. We don't read to understand and get into that. This is a story of this man's life at the end of the day, and goes on from there. I mean, and this is not a Bible study. I'm trying not to be this way about stuff, but I'm wanting to drop nuggets of the things that you can do your own individual research and just get in a little further and understand. Like he did say, if Jesus was to return today, who would know him? Number one, he would be fine. And you know, the sad part of the sad truth about what he said is that he, as an individual, because of the separation that we have among the faith, he would be finding his own cross to crawl back up on. That's deep. That's deep. That's powerful. And that's number one. He would find his own cross because there's so much separation under one understanding. There should be one understanding that he would have to find himself, crawl himself back up on the cross again. But you think about it, in the way we separate each other, we constantly put him back on the cross. Constantly. We come on TV. I got set up. We come on TV. We the evangelical. We the son of the evangelical. We get on TV, coming to the camera. Okay, making people feel bad about, well, you're a sinner. You know, you just asked Christ to come in your life right now. You're no longer a sinner. Stop the madness, man. Please stop the madness.
Madness makes some money.
Well, okay, you're right. I'm sorry. What was I thinking? You know, you shouldn't even make that kind of heck of a lot of money that you can run a commercial at any given time on national primetime television and putting in things out there. But yet, where did we? Oh, anyway, let me stop. Jump. All right, we got to go on. We got to go on. We got to go on. All right, so we're going to take us to a wind down in the evening. Back to motivation. All right, and again, in this week, let as you're moving toward however you're going to choose to celebrate Resurrection Sunday, this coming Sunday. Let it speak to you as an individual, not as a collective of what people told you that it should be. Let this be the transformation point. If you look at the fact that Jesus' body went in the ground and it rested there for 3 days and it arose to a new place in life, which brings forth spring, which brings forth a new understanding, a new elevation for you as an individual, not to be harnessed. And he told them not to worship him, okay, after the resurrection. All right. But anyway, we've chosen to do that as well. Even after the resurrection, he went and told them not to do that. Okay. But anyway, so we're going to move on with that. But let this little moment of this week be the little education piece for you and not move in that direction. Change your paradigm so that you can move in your divine. I love that's it from Change your paradigm so you can move in your divine.
You better be careful who you hang around with. Because if you hang around with the wrong folks, you know what they're going to do? They're going to create a nice little foundation, a nice little hotbed, a nice little place for victimhood to start to breed. And now here you are, you over here playing the victim because of the people who you surround yourself with. Don't surround yourself with a bunch of people who are always saying, well, this happened and they did this and why is it we don't get to do this and how come? As long as you do that, you're going to play the victim. Guess what happens when you play the victim? You can never grab the reins of life and say, here's how I want to experience it. Here's the way I want to look at it. And now your mind and your perspective is being pulled every which way because you don't have control over the steering wheel of your mind. Stop playing the victim. And I know that's challenging at times because it's easier to play the victim. This world has conditioned you to be the victim. The reason why it's conditioned you to be the victim is so it can control you. Unplug from the matrix and take your mind back and stop being the victim.
I think that right there says it all. You know what I'm saying? I think that says it all. You know, I mean, I don't even want to add the other video. I think that's the point of drawing pause. It says everything that I just said, and I didn't realize how orchestrated that would be, even at that moment coming out of what I just said,
But everybody's not created equal mentally.
No, I get that, but let me finish my point, and then you can make
it.
And understanding being victimized is still typically a product of our belief systems. We believe that we are victim because of certain circumstances and things that we've experienced. Sometimes we create those things in our own heads because of it becomes a shelter, it becomes a bunker, it becomes a wall. Victimization becomes that, and it makes us protect not the things that we don't want to confront about ourselves. But as it said earlier, and you can make your point from that, it's all in the way we frame ourselves, and it is a reconditioning, it is a rebirthing. And as I said a minute ago, if that is a place in your life, utilize this moment, utilize the leading up to the Good Friday as a representation, the dying of an old you, or an old opportunity, or old spiritual way of looking at things, and taking that and resting it for those 3 days, but yet while it's in the ground for those 3 days, and that nurturing that the ground does to repermeate a new and a beautiful life that's going to come forward. Let this be the time that happens, and spring forth in a newer way of the resurrection, and move out on that level of resurrection. To me, this is what we should be celebrating. This is what the idea of all of that, not the somatics that it has been built up to be. Because I think that the way I just said it, it may be inviting a lot more people to understand the purpose rather than the purpose. You see what I'm saying? Because the purpose should be about involvement in you as who you are, as the great person that you've been created to be.
That's for you.
Well, I mean, yeah.
That's for you.
Okay.
That's for those who have that strong mentality. But then everybody's not created equal. And I'm going to keep repeating this because at the end of the day, you have people who talk this not being victim. Understand, nobody wants to be the victim in their own storyline. But you got to understand, people don't come from a very steady foundation where somebody has given them the tools to have a strong, steady foundation within themselves. I don't come from that foundation. I'm going to put myself on the docket. Okay. I don't come from a foundation of very strong, being confident and making grand choices and making strong stances in what I believe in or what I should be going in my life. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of hard to be that strong when you felt like you've been overprotected all of your life. And it's no diss to my mom, because I know she's watching this, but at the end of the day, you have to understand those people. They know, those people who know where they're going, that is I feel is an anointed, a spiritual gift that you have, that you know that this is who I am and you cannot deter me. But you have those also in life that they don't have that type of I would say core that they can make a sound choice and be stronger. The people, there are a lot of people who are consistent, and there are a lot of people who are inconsistent. Right. But that's not their fault, and it's not their fault that they have this scenario played in their mind where they feel like, things are happening in my life, and I know this is happening in my life, and I feel some type of way. I am depressed about this, but yeah, I know this is what's going on, but I cannot get up from this. I got to find a way to get up out of this. Where there are some people who will say, I can get up out of this. I know I'm strong in this. I know I can be better in this. And I just wish people would stop really punching down on people who have a weak mental situation, or what we call a downward spiral. That is not always is not a weakness. It's just a situation that people have that they seem through, I would say, they have where they are not strong or don't have the muscle to say, you know what, I can get up. But at this point, I can't get up. But I know I gotta get up. But it's just that I just feel like
I think you just answered the whole situation right there in your presentation. And at the end of what you said is that the key element, we do recognize it at some point. It may not be the complete victory that you're anticipating, but you just said within yourself, you have to say to yourself that I have that muscle to get up. and you just acknowledge that. Sometimes you have to.
But don't beat up on victims.
Well, no, but I don't think he was beating up on victims in the process of that. But I think it was just that sometimes you have to hear the confrontation of where you are.
But it's not their fault.
No. But he's not saying it was anybody's fault.
I feel like sometimes when people talk like that, they want to down people who play victim, or they claim they're playing victim.
But and here's the truth behind the truth: that sometimes people do that.
I don't believe that.
Well, the reason I do that, okay, sometimes people do that because for attention gatherings, and that's another conversation of being triumphant over things that are not. Some people are not, but
that's the problem. I think people assume that people are playing victim, but they're not playing victim. That is just a mental situation that people who don't have the fortitude of being strong. They have a weak moment.
But you keep saying the true element, a weak moment. See, a weak moment is not a lifetime of weakness. And there's a difference. Okay, there's a difference. Weak moment versus a lifetime of weakness, there's a difference. See, and okay, this will keep over in layers. And this is where, everybody's situation is going to be different. Trying to wrap it up this way. I'll let Charles finish it out. Everybody has different experiences, okay, that dictate their belief systems, okay, whether they are extremely great, not so great, not great at all. You've got people that have been at rock bottom and have risen to be kings and queens in their own sector, okay, but at some point they were victims, okay, but they didn't accept the true essence of being the victim mentality. If they would have kept the victim mentality, they never would have found a way to rise up. It's the same thing of putting, as I've used the example, it's like being in the gym. There's a certain point that you can say that this weight is too heavy and I'll be the victim of the weight. Or you can say, I'm going to pick this weight, I'm going to put a little bit more on, and I'm going to get stronger under the pressure that I'm under. But that's a choice we all have to make at some point. What level are we going to add to it? It's not saying that you're right, you're wrong, but you're experiencing your own level. As long as you keep pressing a little bit, you are going to get stronger.
But again, we're not created equally.
But yeah, I get that. But it doesn't matter if you're created the same way. It's an individual choice. And it's the individual choices, as you said earlier. Either you can choose to stay or take a little bit extra to push yourself up out of it. Nobody's ever going to be able to grab you by the arm and say, come on out of this. You see what I'm saying? It would be nice. It really would. Because, look, if that was the case, I could reach through the screen now, pull Charles right out of his and put him as a multi-millionaire out here in this house in Beverly Hills. I can do the same thing for us. You see what I'm saying? But there is a point where you have to come to say, look, okay, it may not be as much as everybody thinks that I should be doing, but I'm doing enough to get me up out of it.
Well, don't you wish a whole lot of us would have grown up with strong mentors, strong people who would have given us that gift? Some of us don't get that. We're not handed that award or handed that.
But let me interrupt you again. Okay, we can all and we can all look at our wounds. Okay, at the end of the day, some of our wounds are deeper than others. Some of us can keep looking at our wound and keep opening that wound, however that wound came. Or some of us can accept the fact that I got to go to the medicine cabinet and get the Curacone or the alcohol or whatever to start closing it up. Okay, we've got to make that decision. Now, there's times when that wound, or if you took alcohol, that's going to burn. But at the end of the day, that burn is going to eventually cause that skin to heal. And it won't burn anymore. If you went back, 2 weeks later, you poured the alcohol over it, it's not going to burn.
Well, I just wish people would understand that there are levels to this life called life and human and working this and living in this thing called humanity. We're not all alike. Go ahead, Charles. I'm done.
Good, Charles.
No, it's I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I think that with the judgment and the unstable economy, it just brings out the nutcases. That's all. People aren't good under pressure. These are what they call, these are rocks that won't ever turn into diamonds. That's pretty much for sure. They won't be a diamond. Mm-mm.
Right.
To be honest with you, I raise my hand to that.
Right. No,
I will raise my hand to that because some rocks it's hard to turn into diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to turn things into precious stone because pressure is hard. I don't like pressure. I don't. I think, to be honest with you, I think that's one of the things I sometimes have to fight, especially when I go to work and deal with it. It's just certain things I'm like, okay, this is not going to last too long. But goddamn, I hate it. Yeah, it's supposed to make us grow. It's supposed to make us better. But at times you just get tired of it because you feel like you got to go back and got to go to work, but then you got to go home and deal with other pressures. And it's like, oh shit, why? Why me? Why do I have to be fucked around with every day? I don't want to have to deal with this shit. I don't want to deal with depression. I don't want to have to deal with financial upheavals and health situations and all this other stuff. I want to be able just to live and to be stable in my life. But then it's just the fact of having, but that is I would say that is a very selfish thing that I have within me because I don't like too much burden on me. I want to be able to walk in this life feeling like, okay, I got A, B, and C, and D, and I feel like E, F, and G will be maintained. Everything should be fine, but it's not fine. It's not, and it does wear and tear on one situation.
Right, okay, let me give you a quick example. We got to wrap it up. Good hypothesis, Savannah, is making it personal. I'm going to use Charles as an example. Charles that I've known Charles for, just maybe a shot longer than I've known you, maybe a year and a half, 2 years longer than I've known you. I watched Charles from here, from there, from there, from there, from there, from there, from there. I've heard his heart. I've heard him call me in tears, and looked at how he has continued to frame his life under enduring pressure, suffering with PTSD, suffering through choices, suffering through choices of where he may say right marriage, wrong marriage, what did this put him into, suffering to try to be a granddad, try to be a dad, try to have his own financial gains, try to not go out in the workforce where he should be, as a military person, should be being taken care of royally at the end of the day, not looking for the struggles of having to find a place to live, not having the struggles to virtually almost living in a car, But I look at him today and it brings me to tears because he's still standing. He's still standing.
10 toes.
You know what I'm saying? He's still standing. He complains. We all complain. But he's still standing.
That's
he
the key.
Celebrated his 65th birthday, or celebrating his 65th birthday. He's still standing. And you, my husband, you got the same fortitude. And we're here for you. I've been here for him. You know I'm here for you, even though what I'm about to go through. We're here. You can, in your time, you rise. Nobody ever tells a phoenix when the phoenix is supposed to rise. All we know is that the phoenix rises from the ashes. But in the midst of the ashes, trust me, there's a hell of a lot of pressure. But when it rises slowly. Don't pop.
Yeah.
It rises slowly, but for every step that it comes up, there's something greater about it. There's something greater revealing about it. Each time it goes up a little higher, there's a little bit more and a little bit more. But when it truly rises, and we may not ever rise to be that complete phoenix coming from the ashes. We never may not be. It may be till we rise up to the point that we carry right on over to the other side. But each level we come up, we are better than we were before. And we deal with things better than we did before. All right. We had a moment. It's a beautiful moment. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for this, allowing us the moment of transparency, because I hope this collective group has set a level of healing, not only for us first, but for you, the audience. Take this and share with somebody. This is what the truth behind the truth is about. I wouldn't go say this, guys. He knows, and Charles knows, I've been struggling with this for the longest. Really, should I create a platform of documentation of what I'm about to undergo myself? And I'm so glad to have his bravery right now. He's mentioned about other things, but I'm so glad to connect to his bravery right now. I've got cancer, and it's been the hardest gesture to ever talk about. It has. I've cried. I've tried to understand. I've asked why. I've always said in my life, never dictated to be in this particular position. I wish we had more people paying attention to this moment, but it'll get around.
Yeah.
And those of you who will pick this up a little bit later. So as of tomorrow, I'm going up to this point, the greatest challenge I've ever had in my entire life. So I'm undergoing surgery tomorrow. And I'm grateful that I had this opportunity to say it to the listening audience, those of you who remained. I may document this moving forward. I don't know. I just haven't made peace with the whole idea yet, But I do feel in good company because the same brother I mentioned to, he's been through it. Charles has been through it.
Yeah.
And look at it. Part of everything that we've talked about, that was one other layer that he had to endure. And look at him. He still smiles. He still chases women.
I'm a magnet. I don't have to chase.
He's a magnet, exactly. And we both, I love him dearly. We love him. We love each other. And, hey, that's our show tonight. Okay? Transparency, love, peace, joy, the truth behind the truth. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's challenging, sometimes it's, I don't want to hear it, that's the truth. Get with it. It's still the truth behind the truth. All right? Love you guys. Hopefully we'll be here. I don't know. We will be live next week. It depends on how I'm feeling, next week at this time, whether we will be live. If not, we'll re-air this particular show, and then we'll be back the following week. But I'm going to be live again, it's time. All right, it was listed your concerns and your affirmations. And this is a good time to send some doggone money. Okay? It is. It's a good time. Charles, we're going to put our things up you can real quick. For those that catch this at the later point, this is a good time to send the truth behind the truth for some money. Okay? I'm not begging, hey, at some point I will be a cancer survivor, but, every dollar helps at this particular point in time because cancer ain't cheap. All right? It ain't cheap at all. All right. Do what you can do. If you heard it, you said it, hey, you send us an email if you missed it. ttbttshow@gmail. You can send the information correspondence with that, whatever. We love you. Thank you for being here. All right. We'll see you next week. All right. Love you much. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Love somebody.